All right, let's dive into an absolutely incredible story. This is a timeless, almost mythic tale about sacrifice, transformation, and what happens when a hero is pushed to the absolute brink.
And this is really where it all begins. We meet our hero in a state of, well, living death. He's got all this power, but he's completely trapped. This quote just nails the tragedy of it, right? The very thing keeping him alive, his incredible will, is also the source of his constant, agonizing pain. So how in the world did he end up like this? Let's break down the chains, both the physical ones and the spiritual ones, that have our hero the Traveler completely imprisoned.
So this isn't some simple battle wound, it's way deeper than that. It's a poison, a dark inheritance from his own people, his ancestors. This lead is literally turning his body into stone, a cold, silent prison for a spirit that's meant to be infinite.
And this right here, this is the core of his struggle. You've got his spirit, which is being sustained by this massive cosmic power, the ion entity. It's limitless. But then you have his body, which is just failing, completely shackled by this poison. There's a war going on inside every single one of his cells.
So why is this happening to him? Well, it wasn't some accident. This was the cost of being a hero. His entire condition is a direct result of him taking a stand, of him fighting against this incredibly powerful figure during a great war. In a strange way, his prison is actually his badge of honor.
For a long time, he just drifted, stuck in this state. But, no hero story just ends in a stalemate. Something had to give. And the thing that finally broke the silence was a desperate cry from the home he'd long since left behind.
So while he's trapped, his homeworld, Daxam, is basically falling apart. It's been taken over by the fear-wielding Sinestro Corps, and to just twist the knife, his own father is helping them rule. The cries from his people for a savior, they finally cut through the fog of his sickness.
And this is the moment it all changes. He has this profound realization, this epiphany. Being a hero isn't about waiting until you're 100%. It's about finding the strength to do what's right now, even when you're broken. That idea becomes his new mission.
And with a roar that supposedly shook the very towers of his sanctuary, he just shatters the life support system holding him. He's not just flying home, he's returning as something else entirely.
Yeah, this wasn't some prodigal son coming home to make amends. The person who left Daxam was not the same being who was coming back.
But as a storm of emerald retribution, he came back as a living weapon, a force of nature fueled by pure, righteous anger. The time for quiet suffering was over. This was a reckoning.
This part is just incredible. He actually weaponizes his own suffering. That lead, the very thing that was killing him, the constant agony, he uses it as a compass to guide his power. He turns his greatest weakness into his most powerful weapon.
But as he's tearing through the invaders, he starts to realize something. They're not the real problem. They're just a symptom of something much, much bigger. The true enemy was something far older.
It turns out the real prison wasn't the Sinestro Corps, it was their own sun. The dim red star that Daxam orbited was the very source of their weakness, the thing that kept them isolated and vulnerable. To truly free his people, he couldn't just fight an army, he had to fight a star.
And that's when the true cost of victory becomes clear. It wasn't enough to be their champion. He had to become their new horizon. He would have to give up everything he was to fundamentally remake their reality, to become their new source of life and strength.
So what happens next is just cosmic alchemy. It's on a scale that's hard to even imagine. He decides to take on the dying star itself and perform one last universe-altering act of will.
So how do you become a sun? Well, first, you fly directly into the heart of a dying one. You carry that infinite spark of green energy with you, right? Into its core. And then, instead of letting the furnace destroy you, you embrace it. You unleash that emerald fire, and you become the star's new living engine.
And the result is a total, instantaneous transformation. The dying red giant becomes a brilliant, life-giving yellow sun. And down on the planet, his people are changed in a flash. They go from being weak isolationists to a race of superpowered beings, a whole planet of gods, created by the hero they had once thrown away.
So his physical body is gone, forever bound to the core of the star. But in this final state, he finds something that he never had his entire life,
he finds peace.
He literally becomes the torchbearer. His whole existence is now a symbol. His life force is the pulse of the new sun, a constant burning reminder that true will, that emerald light, finds its highest purpose in sacrifice.
And that just brings this entire journey full circle, doesn't it? The kid who ran away from a cold, gray world, who always felt like he didn't belong, finally found his home, not on a planet, but right at the heart of it all, a silent guardian, burning brightly for his people.
Which kind of leaves us with this final thought. What really is a hero's power? Is it about winning fights and being the strongest? Or is it about the willingness to give it all away, to sacrifice everything you are, not just for people, but to become something new for them?